Hey everybody, welcome to Moment of Clarity. As you know from our mainstream, our lovely and fucking amazing mainstream media, the lungs of the planets are on fire, right? The Amazon is on fire. There are 80,000 fires burning in the Amazon right now, and for any of you who are listening to some right-wing network going, there were fires last year too. There's 85% more this year, all right? So shut the fuck up. And many of this has been encouraged by their fucking fascist leader in Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, who is horrific, the worst. I mean, he looks like an evil Mr. Rogers. You couldn't set it up better if you wanted to for some sort of comedy sketch. And our media, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, they were basically fine with it. The New York Times said nothing critical when he was running for office, really, not much, not enough. The Wall Street Journal straight up endorsed him. Okay, and Donald Trump, of course, loves the guy. I mean, hey, fascist loves fascist, right? So, you got this shithead who's encouraging burning down Brazil, basically, burning down the rainforest. Now, here's the thing, though. I have an answer to this situation that our mainstream media has actually reported on a little bit. They are reporting that the Amazon is burning right now. It is one of the, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's one of the most of the remaining rainforest in this world. Now, I have an answer. I have a solution. I think we could stop it. And here's how. Much of it has been encouraged by Bolsonaro. He wants to kill indigenous. He wants to get rid of indigenous. He wants to tear down the rainforest because the farmers want it. The big exploiters, the big extractors, the miners and the such. They want to get rid of the rainforest so they can dig, they can farm, they can do all that shit. So that's why they're burning it. They started this thing, these fires that are running wild in a day of fire, a day of burning the rainforest. They were like, ha-ha, let's get rid of the rainforest. All right, sounds good. Who cares about the millions of species that we're just decimating? So Bolsonaro has helped, has furthered, has tried to create this situation. And our mainstream media doesn't want to talk about the fact that there is an easy way, or maybe not easy, but there is a way to get rid of Bolsonaro, to get rid of this fascist in Brazil. And that is the massive corruption scandal that is blown up in Brazil that was revealed by Glenn Greenwald at The Intercept. And it was someone inside the government there, the court system there, the criminal justice system there that revealed thousands upon thousands of texts and emails, and I've talked about it on my videos before, between Judge Moro, Sergio Moro in Brazil, and the prosecution of Lula da Silva. Lula is the hugely beloved former president of Brazil who was trying to run for president again when they prosecuted him for something ridiculous, and they put him in jail. They locked him up to make sure he couldn't run for president. And what did you end up with? You ended up with fascist because the hugely popular leftist, or he's really more of a liberal. He's no like, honestly, he's no AMLO in Mexico. But he's better than fascism. So with him locked up, they were able to put in their far right-wing, racist, sexist, sack of shit. They were able to get him in there. So it has now come out that court proceeding, and again, I went through this. I went through all the details. If you want to see the details of this corruption, you can go back and watch my previous video on Brazil's corruption scandal that's blown up there. But our mainstream media isn't talking about that corruption scandal. They can't talk about it for multiple reasons. One, because it reveals the ruling elite. It reveals their corruption, which, our media doesn't really like doing. But more importantly, it's very similar to the DNC leaks, to showing the corruption of our ruling elite. It's very similar in that respect, that you got to see, you got to take the fucking curtain down and see the back and forth between these people. And you found out that the judge who put Lula in prison is completely corrupt. Judge Morrow. And you got to see that the prosecution was working with him, which is the opposite of what a judge is supposed to do. And you got to find out that, this guy has now been put as the minister in Bolsonaro's government as a reward for locking up the other candidate. So he's been working with Bolsonaro's government. The corruption goes much deeper. And it is very similar to the DNC leaks in that it revealed the corruption of the ruling elite, a specific sector of it. And our mainstream media doesn't want to talk about that, right? When was the last time they talked about what was actually shown in the DNC leaks, in the emails that went back and forth, the Clinton campaign? They don't talk about it. They can't talk about that. Instead, they go after the people that revealed it. Julian Assange, right? WikiLeaks, the various others that they claim are the ones behind it. But they won't talk about what was in the emails. And, of course, it spawned the whole Russiagate facade that has now collapsed into a steaming pile of shit. But if they were to talk about this, if this were, well, hold on, let me just finish up what I was saying about why they don't want to talk about it. Another thing is because it connects again to Glenn Greenwald. So Glenn Greenwald is, of course, the one who brought forward the Snowden leaks, worked with Snowden to reveal that we live in one of the most extensive, most creative surveillance states in the fucking world. The NSA is larger than any of us knew. They are collecting data on all of us. Glenn Greenwald, with Snowden, revealed that, right? They fucking hate Glenn Greenwald. They won't even have him on usually much anymore. You don't see him on regularly, CNN or MSNBC or any of them. Maybe occasionally, but... And they don't want to act like that he is a legitimate journalist. They don't really want to prop him up anymore than they already have had to because the NSA leaks were so massive that they kind of didn't have a choice. So they don't want to talk about this corruption in Brazil. They'll talk about the forest fires burning, but they don't want to admit that they have a fucking way of taking down Bolsonaro. If this story kept building and kept becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, which it is in Brazil to some extent, but, I would imagine that many outlets in Brazil don't want to get into the depths of it either. I know The Intercept is working with one of the biggest magazines in Brazil, so it's not that none of the mainstream media there is covering it, but I think that, they're probably trying, certain outlets probably trying their best to paper over it or act like it's in the past. Anyway, if this corruption scandal keeps blowing up in Brazil, it could bring down Bolsonaro. If he was really linked enough and, if the people understood that and understood what corruption was revealed. And then you wouldn't have the far right-wing fascist in power in Brazil who is overseeing the burning of the Amazon, who fucking hates the indigenous, fucking wants them dead, because they are the defenders of the Amazon. They are the ones who come forward in court, on the streets, everywhere else, and say, hey, this is our land. You can't just fucking destroy it. He hates them. He fucking despises them. And so you could probably get him out if this corruption scandal kept building. But how much do you hear about it on our sack of shit media? You don't. So just know that while a lot of our media is running around saying the lungs of the planet are on fire, and there's some argument as to whether they're the lungs of the planet, but I don't care if they're the fucking balls of the planet. I don't give a shit. It's the last remaining rainforest, or much of it, and millions of species are dying, and it's horrific. Whether it's the lungs or the fucking, I don't care if it's the appendix of the planet. I don't care if the trachea of the planet or this earlobe of the planet. Who gives a shit? The point is, it's important, and it's 80,000. There are 80,000 fires burning right now. So I'm not saying it'd be easy. I'm not saying it's a silver bullet, but this is something that could be done by our media. Reveal this scandal. Reveal who Bolsonaro really is, who Judge Morrow really is. Show people that this is what's going on. And then maybe you'd have someone in office in Brazil who might not encourage the burning down of the rainforests. Just saying. Just saying. I'll get more into this on the upcoming Redacted tonight, a different angle of it about why we in the United States might want to be involved in this situation as our planet burns from climate change and our environmental destruction, even outside of climate change. As I've mentioned, many people are setting these fires. They're not just, most of them are not just naturally burning, which is unbelievable. It's our ongoing pursuit to prove that we're a virus. We were worried. People were confused. Are we a virus? And so we're like, well, let's just start burning shit down and someone will notice. Well, we'll get the point across. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for Moment of Clarity. If you think this video is important, please share it with people. And I have live shows coming up in Los Angeles. That's already half sold out. Ventura, California. Toronto, I just added. Not Minneapolis just did that, but Madison and Milwaukee also. Anyway, it's all at leecamp.com. Click the schedule tab. And I'm being suppressed on every outlet. I'm suppressed on YouTube. I'm suppressed on Facebook in a new way that I'll be telling you about soon. And the only real way for me to keep in touch with you on a regular basis is email. So if you haven't already, sign up for the free email list at leecamp.com. Yeah, totally free. So do that. Keep fighting.